So we are having the pleasure of interviewing with Taia Tunstall, who is the UK under 20 first ranked discus thrower as of 2 days ago, when she threw a PB of 49.90 at the England Throws Camps Invitational Series. She's a first year elite sports student at Loughborough University, and we said that we would talk to Taia last week after the British Championships, where she caged the first throw with then eventually getting 39 and fouled the other throws. And what we were really interested in was Taia's response to that, and how she really sort of picked herself up and saw the real successes out of the first attendance at the British Champs. Went on to compete at Lee Valley the next day, and then obviously now we're coming to this interview and Taia has in her back pocket a first ranked position and a PB of 49.90. So what we wanted to do was talk to Taia today about her sport, her athletics, and also what it's like to compete at the British Champs and competing in general, and her views on that. So hi Taia, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. So yeah, just start off and let us know, how did you get into throwing discus?
It was year 5. My teacher actually entered me for an inter-schools competition. It was an indoor one as well, and I never heard of discus before. My teacher actually informed me on it, and ever since then I've just loved it. I mean, the first competition I was the one who was thrown the furthest. It was with a foam discus as well, so it wasn't even anything like that special. And then he just said, oh yeah, you should go down to this local club. So I did. First time I went down there, they made me do running, and I was never happy with that. So we actually met with a coach down there, and from there it's just been what it has been now, with all the coaches I've been through and all the experiences that I've had, like English schools and nationals and everything like that, and it's just continued on from there. And obviously now I have my coach Stuart, and it's just going on the up and up.
And you're now in the elite sports program at Loughborough University, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you.
So what would you say were your biggest influences as you were developing through school and throwing the discus and through those clubs? What really helped you?
I definitely say it's my parents, because ever since I first started it, they saw that something was there, that I really enjoyed doing it, and that even when I wanted to quit with my first coach, I just didn't want to stop almost, and they knew that I didn't want to stop. So having them in my life has just been absolutely amazing, because my dad especially, he's driven me here, there and everywhere up and down the country. And he's just been a big push. And then my mum, she's been helping me with all my training, and then with all the stuff outside of it as well. So yeah, they're definitely the biggest influences in my life at the moment.
Oh, that's really good. And what were your first experiences of competing like? Obviously you said you started at year 5 just by being chucked into a competition with a foam discus, but how about moving on from there? What was it like?
My first actual one was I think it was an EYL, and obviously being a thrower as well down at my club, they were very rare, so I just got thrown into any event I can do. So they put me into discus, shot put and javelin. Obviously discus was just a big eye opener, the fact that you had to use a metal discus and everything like that. And it just it was kind of daunting, because there was a girl that I knew that was throwing way further than I was, but she really helped to progress me, and just seeing how other people threw it, how other people were doing, it just made me want to get to that standard. And then competing in the other throws as well, it just shows how different people are, and it was just such an eye opener for me that I didn't want to stop, and I just wanted to get to their level almost. And then when I saw other people competing at a higher level, especially when I got to English schools, it was just, I want to get to that standard. I want to try and win these things. I want to get to where she's throwing at, basically. And then obviously my brother joined in as well, and my dad actually. And then it just went from there. It just really helped to have so many different people progress me from that point up to now.
That sounds really interesting. So how is competing different to training then? Because if you're getting that motivation from seeing people competing at those levels, how's that different to being in your club environment and seeing other athletes in your club environment and the inspiration that you get from them?
In some ways, we're trying to replicate how training is to competition. So we figured out this year that me being relaxed is like a massive issue that I used to have. Especially my first comp of the year, I got really worked up, so I just didn't do my best. So at the moment, we're trying to get the same pattern in with my training that we're doing in competition, and also with obviously Stuart coaches quite some high athletes like Lewis Bing and my training partner Lily Garler as well. They're quite high ranks in the country, so being around them also helps push me a bit, and just being around like top level athletes in training is also helping in competition, because that means that I've got that same sort of situation, same sort of environment.
So it's not such a shock effectively when you go into the competition.
Yeah, because I know it definitely was my first English schools. It's just like I've never seen Samantha Callaway, who's like ranked number 1 when I went to my first English schools. I'd never seen her before, never like seen her thrown or anything like that. So when I actually got to my first competition, it was a big shock, and like ever since then, obviously I've competed against like Jane Lally and Kirsty Law. So that's been really helpful to know how they throw, how they are in competition, just so I'm really familiar with them now, so it's not as much of a shock.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. So, and I think we can all relate to, it doesn't matter what competition it is, but the first time you represent your school, or the first time you're at the English schools, or the first time you're doing a senior competition, there's that common experience, I suppose, where nerves and new environment, new people, even just a new circle, and the setup of the cage, it can be really different, and it's I think we can all relate to how that feels. So what would you say happened at the British Championships, and what was different to your, quite frankly, amazing performances 2 days ago at the England Throws Camps Invitational?
When I first did it, I didn't know what had happened. Like, I went into this thinking it's just another competition, it's another training session, there's no pressure or anything like that, and you've been invited to like literally the biggest competition, like one of the biggest competitions I'll ever do, and it's the British Champs, it's a big thing. But like, I got there, you do the warm-up, everything like that. I think at some points it just unnerved me a bit, because I've never been on the stadium before, I've never been in that circle, that sort of freaked me out. But then you get into the competition, okay, I'm around people I know, but then like the cameras and everything, that's one thing that you never usually see. You might see the odd cameraman in the field or something like that, who usually has to dodge the discus, but apart from that, like seeing when they did a pan around of all the athletes before we actually threw, and actually seeing me on the big screen, it was a big eye opener. And I think like I definitely know that when I got into it, my body started shaking a bit, so that was like telling me that it was just a bit higher than what I'm used to. But comparing that between British Champs and either Lee Valley or the Moulton competition, it was just I could sort of relax a bit, because that one had gotten out of the way. I've done my first senior champs, and now it's just like, oh, just relax into it. You know what you're doing. You know how to face these things now. It's just having that exposure, and that's one thing that I really like. I think that's one thing I really struggled with at Manchester.
Yeah. So what? I mean, it's a huge success to even step foot into that arena. There are so few people that get to compete at the British Championships, that effectively you've won just by being there, and it is really something to be completely proud of. Just sort of thinking for people that are listening, and what might be useful and interesting for them, what advice would you give yourself if you were to be able to go back, or maybe next year at the British Champs, or next time you're in that environment with the cameras? As you said, that's a huge difference to normal competition, you're right. What advice would you give yourself? What have you learned from the experience?
I think one thing I really learned is like trying to distract myself from all of it, because I've learned now that if I've started singing songs in my head, then that's really helped me, because I'm focusing on that, I'm not focusing on anything else, like the tannoy or like the people with cameras around. And it literally is just saying, if you're someone who gets anxious quite a bit, who doesn't like all the attention, trying to focus something that's just on you, that you're in a training session. That's all it is, really. And I mean, that's what me and Stuart have been trying to work on, is making sure that I'm not stressing out, I'm not like getting in my own head, and it's just it is what it is. You know what you're doing, you know how you're competing. It's just another situation. It might be higher up, it might be one of the lesser competitions, but it's just a training session. It's just another throw, another circle with another discus. It doesn't matter what it is, really.
And that it'd be really interesting to see lots more of you, basically, and to sort of see, as you get more experienced with those kind of environments, you know, that you can really thrive and take them on as your own, you know, because this is the thing that I think every athlete has to remember, no matter what level. It could be on, you know, local club level, and it could be on the international stage or the Olympics. You've earned the right to be at that competition. It is your competition, and you belong there. You know, and so that's really interesting, that sort of focus. So is there any advice that, if you could go back to when you were, I don't know, 14, 15, is there any advice that you would give to yourself, or if you know, had 14, 15-year-olds in your club, that you would pass on to them?
I mean, I've obviously got my assistant coach license, and I used, like last year, I used to coach like year 7s and 8s in like discus and shot put, and a lot of the time it would just like a lot of advice I give them is just enjoy it, because I know a lot, especially when you're a younger age, a lot of parents will like, I don't mean this bad on anyone, but like a lot of parents do force you into things, or clubs force you into competitions, but if you don't enjoy it, there's no point doing it. I know that's what my parents used to always say to me, like, especially because I used to do rugby as well. There became a point a couple of years ago where I just didn't enjoy it. I wasn't happy being around the team and things like that. And I love discus. It's the one thing that just makes me happy and makes me want to like continue on. And that's all I can really say. If you really want to do it, then you're really loving it, and then you want to get better. Because I know that, like, especially between me and my brother, he hates discus. Well, he doesn't hate it, but he doesn't like it, and he loves rugby. I just fell out of love with rugby, and I fell in love with discus. So yeah, it's completely different from different people, but when you find something you really want to do and you really love, then you keep going on with it.
Great. It sounds really good. The other thing I'm interested in as well is that at the moment we're seeing loads, like obviously loads of fabulous athletes coming through Loughborough, and also quite a substantial number choosing to train in the States in various American universities. So I'm just really interested as well in what made you choose Loughborough to come and train, and also for your university education, obviously.
Well, actually, I was offered the chance to go to America, but at the time, obviously, I was throwing 44, which was my PB at the start of the year, and a lot of the time it was just like, oh, you need to hit 50 to get a scholarship, and my family couldn't really afford it, so it had to be that I had to get a full scholarship, otherwise I couldn't come. And their facilities, I will not doubt this, they are so impressive. They've got indoor throws areas, everything like that, where you can actually throw the discus full length. But in some cases, it just wasn't me. Like, it just wasn't what I was looking for. Loughborough is like, the facilities are so impressive, but it just feels more homely in a sense. Like, even this flat is, I mean, it looks like a hotel half the time, but it just feels like home. It doesn't feel like anything else. And not just facilities, the course I'm doing is just really impressive. It's one of the top ranked, but it's something I love to do, and it's something I want to do in the future, and that's just what drew me to here. And now that my coach is here as well, it makes it even more of like a drawing too in some cases.
So, because your course is in sports development and physical, isn't, and massage and sports therapy, is it? Or
sport, exercise, coaching, and physical education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a mouthful that I couldn't quite manage there.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a bit hard to remember sometimes.
Yeah, they need a catchy shortening for it, don't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but that's interesting, isn't it? Because you've obviously had, you know, the opportunity as a junior to come to, you know, your coach is closely linked. You've been to various training camps either at or very close to Loughborough. So for you, it was very much a feeling of coming home, and this was sort of where you belong almost.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really interesting, and interesting to see those sort of talent development pathways for athletics in the UK, to see that then coming through and actually kind of working in your case. That's really good.
Yeah, it's just really cool, because like I was on the partially on the Futures program last year, and just being here around, like seeing other athletes train here, like you see Olympians train here, it's just like a reality that, oh, I actually get to be here, I actually deserve to be here, that sort of thing. It's just like, yeah, it's quite nice. It feels homely. Yeah.
And again, I suppose similar to what we were saying with the competitions, you've earned your place there. You know, you deserve to be training alongside those Olympians. You know, so yeah, really interesting. So just because there's going to be other discus throwers that are watching this. So what are your favourite drills? What do you think really makes the difference for you?
See, if anyone knows me, they know I don't like doing drills.
Excellent.
Which is not the best thing. But I think now that my coach has made me do them more, it's been like an eye-opener that I have to do them. And a lot of the ones that are actually on the England Throws Camp website, I absolutely love. So I've started doing a dumbbell discus swing, so just holding a dumbbell in my right hand and doing like a standing throw, obviously without letting it go. But it's just my standing throws before were atrocious, because I never used to do them. They were a bit of warm up, that was it. But now that I'm getting more used to it, it's actually becoming something that is just really fun. It's just helping me lock up my left side, which I did have a problem with a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's just helping a lot, and doing that repetitiveness and getting into a routine of doing that sort of thing helps, not just in the cage but anywhere else, because it's just helping build that like muscle memory of what you need to do.
Yeah, and in a really specific way, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good. Thank you. And okay, so where are you going from here? What are your goals and ambitions? What are we going to see of Taia Tunstall in, I don't know, a year, 5 years?
Well, the next year is going to be me trying to hit 50 meters first, and then hopefully hitting 52 meters, because me and my coach are aiming to get to either Europeans next year or the rescheduled World Champs, so the Under-20 World Champs, which is supposed to be this year in Nairobi. So that'll be a massive thing for me, because obviously I've never, apart from England, I've never actually like gone represented a GB or anything like that, so that'll be a big thing for me. But then also we're looking at the Commonwealths in Birmingham, so that'll be a good one. So that'll be 2022, and then honestly, who knows? Because maybe what's the next one? Maybe like LA or the Olympics after that. So that'll be definitely a eye opener, and hopefully get to there, because I want to keep going. I want to get to like 60 meters, maybe 70.
Yeah,
just seeing where it is from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh well, I have every faith in you, and if you keep going like you did 2 days ago, then that 50 meters is going to be pretty soon in the coming, isn't it? So 10 centimeters.
I've actually got a comp here in Loughborough on Wednesday, so hopefully that 10 centimeters will be gone, and I don't keep getting teased by my little brother about it.
Yeah, no one wants to get teased by their little brother.
No, every single PB I do, he just keeps saying it's not far enough. It's definitely not, but yeah, I just hope I can make him proud. Well, he is proud, but like, just make him shut up a bit.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about little brothers. They're always really, really proud of their big sisters, but they would never tell you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks ever so much for speaking to us. Really appreciate it. We will keep an eye on your progress and keep everything crossed for you. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the Olympic stage via the Commonwealth and the European Championships. And very best of luck to you in your career.
Thank you.
Thank you.